Hello, hello, hello. Hello and greetings to Augies worldwide. We've got Australia, New Zealand, we've got places in Europe. It's quite a collection, over 102 people so far. Welcome to everybody, and thank you for joining the live stream today. It is Saturday, the 25th of April, and we're ready to go with another Q&A session here. I've been reading the comments, lots of comments so far. That's great. I had one person, I've got this huge stack of, these are the questions that came in for this week. Wow. Okay, we'll see how many we can get through them here. Let's see, I think I talked about everything. If you're going to get the 705 plus a linear amp, why not get the 7300? I would suggest that one. The 705 isn't out yet. I have a feeling it's going to have a lot of the capabilities of the 7300, but don't know that. I know there have been a lot of the 705s it's been in the news, ham radio news, quite a bit. It really is designed to compete with the Yellowcraft KX3, which is another QRP rig that is a fully featured QRP rig. It's an all-band transceiver and so on. And they do even make an amplifier for that, which you could use with the 705. But it's designed for QRPing, like backpacking, mountain topping, things like that. Now, a QRP rig is a fine rig for CW. You can usually get a contact going on CW with a QRP rig. But as far as voice, I really do recommend that you start with a 100-watt radio. 100 watts is kind of the norm. Somebody asked me, since the maximum power limit is 1,500 watts, why aren't all radios 1,500 watts? Well, mostly because 100 watts seems to be the sweet spot for most people. And if you want to buy an amplifier, you can. It adds quite a bit of expense to it. Right now, the 600 watt point, it's getting to the point where you should just buy the solid state amp, but the solid state devices are not yet really ready for prime time at 1,500 watts. And so those rigs are mostly tube. There are some transistor ones out there, but they are like 50-60% more dollars than the equivalent tube version. That's because we just aren't there yet on the power transistors. The work is going on. Okay, a lot of questions about testing versus the Amateur Extra Manual. The Amateur Extra Manual will probably come out in May. I think the last time they tried to have it out at Dayton, which is later in May. So May, June, somewhere in there. The new question pool is available. If you follow just Google the new Amateur Extra question pool, and it should take you to the National VEC that will give you the actual question pool, and you can look at that. I understand there are some significant changes. There's some deletions of older material and some additions of newer material, I suspect, related to software-defined radios. You might get that just to look through it, because it does come with the right answers and everything, and kind of get an idea where you might be weak and where we can study. As soon as the new extra book comes out, I'm going to start preparing the new Amateur Extra videos, but that won't be for a couple months yet. Right now, I'm trying to do a video every day. I don't quite get it every day, but pretty close to every day. Since the coronavirus emergency started, I've only missed 2 days. Now, I do live streams on Thursday and on Saturday. The Thursday live stream, if I can just put up the Thursday. So those are available. Now, I get so many questions. I've been asked, why don't you do more sessions? I want to give a plug to Tom, W5KUB, who does a live stream on Tuesday evenings, and I often participate in that as a guest. And that is at 7 o'clock Mountain Time, 8 o'clock Central Time. So that would be 6 p.m. Pacific Time and 9 p.m. Eastern Time. And to get to that, it's easy. Go to w5kub.com, w5kub.com, and click on live. And you can watch that there, and I'm usually part of it for a little bit. It's his show, not mine. So, we do what he wants. He's doing something very interesting right now. He's doing balloon launches that go high up into the stratosphere, around 40,000 feet and above. He's trying to get one to make it all the way around the world. This last one went down in China. What happens is sometimes the thunderstorms are so big that they push up into the stratosphere. And if the balloon goes through that, if it gets any icing at all, it will fall. I mean, that's how significant the weight balance is. Within a gram or two of getting the ice, and it will coat with ice and it'll just fall to the earth. He lost one in Spain. He thinks he knows where it is, but nobody's found it yet. Okay, let's see. Yeah, it looks like a lot of submariners are here. Do you think HDMI ports on upcoming rigs? Oh, don't know. That's hard to say. The makers of the radios tend to be very conservative on what kinds of ports they put on them. They don't put the new stuff for whatever. Fix my collar. Oh, okay. There. There. My collar is fixed. If that were me watching, I'd be going crazy. Okay, let's see. Far West Missouri. Don't understand SDR. Don, I think I may have a question from you on that. My SW watt meter says 1.8 to 1, and the radio says 2 to 1 on 20 meters. 1.8 to 1 to 2 to 1 is not that much different. So, and you understand that amateur radio antenna analyzers are not lab-grade equipment. Lab-grade equipment, you're spending thousands of dollars, and we're spending hundreds of dollars there. Tom has a 40-meter net before the stream, which is nice. Yes, I should do something like that. Hello from Sweden, North Carolina. Did you do a video yet using the big IR vertical actually on the air showing signal comparisons? I think I did. I did several videos on the big IR, and it's a nice antenna, I got to tell you that. San Jose, dive. Okay, if we skip the ads, do you still get credit for it? I don't know. I don't know exactly how Google works that. I always skip the ads, I'll tell you that. Especially when the ads try to sell me something I already have. But if you listen to the ad or something, I don't know how Google works the thing there. It's fine. Let me see. Joe's, I need to click show on it. Okay, from San Diego. Be interested to learn how the telemetry of Tom's balloon works. It's strictly whisper. He's got a little whisper transmitter that sends out continuously the GPS position. That's the telemetry. And you get the altitude as part of the GPS word. So that's what he's got, a 3D fix position. One of the things, let's see, Whisper, I think you have to compute the velocity, whereas if he uses APRS, which you did on a couple balloons, APRS will state the velocity, position and velocity. The FTDX101D, nice new radio, has a DVI video interface. That is an old interface. But my LDG is setting it like 1.3 to 1. So, okay, measure SWR at your radio position. I know there are people who go out, put an antenna up, attach a short coax to it, and measure the SWR. It will be different at your operating location because the cable itself, unless it's an exact multiple of an electrical half wave, will act as an impedance transformer. So if your antenna is 1-to-1, you'll get 1-to-1 in the shack. If you're not 1-to-1, you'll get something different in the shack. So when you're measuring with antenna meters, so on, measure what the radio sees, okay? Measure unhook the coax from the radio and hook it in to the SWR meter so that you're measuring the transmission line plus the antenna, because that's what the radio sees, and that's what's got to be the right impedance. That should be relatively close to what the radio says the SWR is, but the SWR meters in radios are marketing features, and they're not terribly accurate, and they can be a little bit off. Now, if the radio says 3-to-1 and your antenna analyzer says 1-to-1, then there's a problem somewhere. Something gets shorted in the connector or something like that. But don't rule out cable problems when you have an SWR that acts weird. Okay. When I tune my buddy pole with the analyzer, I can get 1.0. Put it, I get 2 to 3 bars SWR. Feed it through the T1 tuner bypass, no bars. Why? I can't say because I'm not familiar with, like I say, measure it at the end of the cable, right where it actually plugs into the radio. I was calling RIDI CQ on 18 with a kilowatt, but accidentally had the 14-meter antenna selected. Could have damaged the 40-meter balance. I don't know. Seems now my 40-meter SWR is intermittent. Well, you ought to take that antenna down and check that, because that can happen. I mean, the amplifier will protect itself. Hello from Denmark, Dan. Dave, you look tired. Yeah, I am. My self-discipline, with one exception, has just gone to pot during this period of time that we have here. I'm sleeping in very late and so on. The one exception is the aviation study that I'm doing. I'm studying for my sport pilot license, and Augie and patron Sean McGrath is giving me ground school over Skype, and we've been really hitting it hard. Well, thank you very much from Nilsson, P.A. Nilsson, reminds us that Super Chat is open. 30 Swedish kroner, I think that's what that is just under $3. Thank you very much. I look tired. Well, yeah. I'm not sick. What I really should be doing, this is an outstanding opportunity for me to be getting on the treadmill every day, for me to be counting my calories and all that sort of stuff like that. But instead of doing that, we buy cookies. Cookies are a lot like life. They taste really good now, but you pay later. Whereas the treadmill is, it's pain now, but you feel better later. So, keep getting the two mixed up. Okay. 2-meter antenna mounting options in a new car with a shark fin antenna. If I get an SO239 type connector through the plastic on the fin, which 2-meter antenna type would be best there? I don't know. Yeah, way to go, OG. You know, the problem I'm having, and I realize this has nothing to do with ham radio, is finding a sport plane. There aren't any for rent around here. I went up to the last EAA, that's Experimental Aircraft Association meeting, was in February, I think. I went up to the meeting in Delta, and that's Airport Alpha Juliet Zulu, and talked to people there about what I needed to find a sport plane to train in. And everybody was suddenly looking at the ground or looking away or saying nobody wanted to loan their airplane or even rent it to me. I would love to rent somebody's airplane so I can get the thing. And then at some point, I guess I'm going to have to find my own airplane. You can pay anything you want. It's like ham radio. You can pay anything you want for an airplane, starting at about $15,000 for a little older radio without much in the way of avionics, on up to $150,000 and even more. I certainly don't have that kind of money. I might be able to afford a $15,000 airplane, but it's got to be sport. I don't even care if it's a Cessna 150. That'll work too. Somebody here, Dennis, I'm really sorry for the problems during the pandemic. It is a real issue for a lot of people. It's just sad. Minimum height I can mount a tri-beam 10, 15, 20 antenna. Well, 33 feet is the optimum height for that 20-meter antenna. If you go higher than that, you'll start to get some lensing on the main lobe. But, 35-foot tower would probably be fine. I used to fly ultralights. I hope you're in one piece. Let's see. Oops. Show. Daniel Villas, contact me at mycall@gmail. Okay. And Dan Jensen, DKK 30. I think that's Danish. And it's bringing the chat revenue total up to $7.30. Where did you get the stamp you used for my log? I had it made. Let's go in my... let's go to dcasso.com. Okay, and I'm going to switch to the screen. Now, I apologize. I've got a 4K screen, so this will probably look pretty small. Let's see if we can just look up stamp here. Updated stamp with date log. Okay. Here is on my website the JPEG. You can take this picture or JPEG down to someplace like Office Depot, Office Max, Staples, or your local stationery store if you still have one like that, and have the stamp made. Make it about 4 inches wide. And if they make the kind of stamps that roll, that are like a semicircle, you can do that one, and it's a little bit easier. But that is the one right there. So it's, just search for stamp in the search on the website. Let's get this back to live streaming. And back to live streaming. Okay, very good. And thank you, Catherine, and thank you, Kyle, very much. Let's see. CBSWR meter design won't work well for all the HF bands. That's true. I know I had trouble on 40 meters with mine. I burned mine out recently. I had a real old one, and I let the smoke out of it, so that went in the trash. Okay, do. Are you doing any satellite work? No, I never have. Finally have Win 7 installed so I can get on chat. Win 7? Wow, you're only 10 years old with that. I loved Win 7. As far as, this is my personal opinion, Win 7 was the epitome, the apogee of human factors design of the screen. And they went downhill from there. I think Win 7, they got it right, and then they went and messed with it. Okay, nice stamp form, yes. Bill, I'm sorry, I probably won't be. I promised my wife that I'd go with her. There's a couple in the area that my wife and I know who are making cloth masks. They are selling them at Ace Hardware for $10 each. And the entire $10 goes to support the local food bank. And with everybody who's out of work and having a real hard time buying food, there's a real need there. And they keep selling out. They'll take a package of 50 down and poof, they sell out. So we're taking some thread over there. They've run out of thread. So let's see. Nice stamp form, yes. Let's see. Best learning CW while doing staying at home. Oh, what is that? There's a piece of software that does that really well. Neil, thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, bird watt meters are good. How well do gutter antennas work? Make sure each piece of gutter is connected solidly electrically to the next. And you've got a real corrosion problem up there. Gutters are made of aluminum, and aluminum and copper don't mix well. 8-foot grounding rod installed right under my desk, 1-inch braided copper. I try to ground my power supply at shorts, shouldn't. CW Academy, that'll do it. Dave Stamp made a few changes, yeah. Send me what you changed on. There'll be new question pool after June 2020? Yes, and it's already out. It's out. Now, they can't delay legally. There is no provision in the regulation to delay the introduction of the new question pool. So it's going to be effective July 1st. It's already out, so it'll become effective July 1st. So if like I said, if you go to NVEC, NVEC or something like that, look up the, go on the RRL, go to the VEC, look up question pools and stuff, and you'll find out where the new ones are. Tommy, thank you. Let's see. Spending my time. Thank you, Tommy B. Appreciate it. Using the Raspberry image lately, very well designed with all the ham software on it. Good. Okay, let's see. Okay, that one was held for review, but I approved it. I don't have an SMA female adapter for my external antenna. Can I put an old SMA female and put a copper wire to receive? Oh, you can play with it. What is the minimum height for G5RV? Well, it would like to be up 132 feet. If you can get it 66 feet, that's good. 50 feet. But it doesn't work real well real close to the ground. The G5RV antenna enjoyed a vogue about 20 years ago. And it's still widely sold, but you're going to need a wide range tuner with it. Well, let's look at these questions. The first is from Pat Riggs, W6SLA. And his would like to study, I just answered this question. The test pool for extra is already upgraded and already available. You can go online and get it. And it will start on the 1st of July, 2020, because there's no provision in the regulations. It's just like there's no provision in the Constitution to delay an election, a federal election. They're on the first Tuesday after the first Monday in November of years divisible by 4. And that's this year. So there will be a presidential election on that day. Back in 1944, they had an election when we were right in the middle of World War II. And they will do that whether there's a pandemic or not at the time. There's no provision to delay it, which is good, because otherwise people would always be coming up with excuses to delay elections, which happens in a lot of other countries, by the way. How would you look for a QSO? Bill wants a QSO with me. I was where I first saw you. You're much better on your show. Personal equipment must have a better connection. Well, it's the new computer. I think the feed is going out at 720p. Bought a new Chameleon. Do 80 meters and down. No. Any installation tips for best performance? Well, I'm not familiar with Comet antennas. Thinking of building an OCF dipole. Yeah, there are plans for them. The ARRL book on dipoles has a whole section on off-center fed antennas. Okay, this is from Jim KK4NDG. Currently a technician class, thinking of taking general for HF access. Good for you. However, I live on the side, not top, of a mountain. I'm at 700 feet elevation. The mountain is 1,400 feet. I'm on the east side of the mountain near the East Coast, USA. So are there antennas that will work better for my situation, and are there limitations due to my location? Well, certainly there are limitations due to your location. But on HF, especially on 80 and 40 meters, I think you will find that mountain doesn't matter very much, because the HF doesn't go in a straight line like VHF, UHF. It can follow the curve of the Earth for the ground wave, and you'll be wanting to go up anyway to get up to the ionosphere. I think you're going to be fine. This is from William Emedy. Oh. These people right here, Bill Hellman, Martin Hoover, and Ari G, sent me questions, and they were garbled. So if you're one of those people, please resend your question. Let's see. Regards to suitable aircraft in which to solo and do your final tests, just reach out to your nearest EAA chapter. I did, but unfortunately they're not meeting now with the coronavirus problem. So I'll try that again. Reference radio Btech is a bad choice. This is a guy who's had a real bad experience with the Btech 25x4 mobile base radios. I'd looked at them and speculated they might make interesting reference radios for the FM only, because they are very inexpensive. And I will take this in mind. I have not yet recommended a radio for the... I'm going to do one that's FM only and one that's got some digital in it. Okay, because in a lot of places you can do just fine with an FM radio. And I think I'm going to try and come up with one for DMR, one for D-Star, and maybe one for C4FM. There is D-Star and DMR near me here. I've got a DMR radio up here now. It's from Bridgecom Systems. It's the Anytone D578UV3 Pro. And a very nice radio. I've done several videos on it so far. I did a recent one on all its features. Not all that many people were interested in that particular video, but I will do some more testing on it. But Thomas Wilston, KM6OCN, thank you for sharing your experience with that, and I shall pay heed to that. Nigel Lawrence, thank you. Thank you for the pound. Much appreciated. Listening from Anguilla Island. Hey, thank you. Looks like the garble went all the way to the paper, too. Yeah, well, my handwriting's not the best. That's why I've got a typewriter. This is from Jim Oberg N9JO. I'm interested in the design of the QSO Rubber Stamp. Could I send a picture? Okay, yes. I did that. Go on to my website at dcastler.com and just search for the word stamp. Okay, this is from Tom W5KUB, who asked me to mention his show here. I'll do that again. It's w5kub.com, Tuesday evenings at 8 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Mountain. Okay, hello, Bob. Thank you very much for your kindness and kind words. Are you on a de-expedition or just on vacation? Oh, he's directing that to somebody else. Your audio seems to be out of sync with the video. Yes, it's going to be. In fact, I tried using this setup for recording a regular video. But the problem is that the video goes in through USB and the video, and then the audio goes in through USB. And the two don't really match up very well in the computer. That is a real problem with USB mics, and I'm using this USB mic right here. I apologize for that. I know it's hard to watch when it's like that. The only other thing I could do would be to get some sort of TriCaster or something. But those the prices on those, wow. I mean, OBS is free. I like free. I really do. Yeah. Since I'm so high up, do I have trouble sending signals over local mountains? No. Do you go down the valley and the long way around? Actually, this sounds strange. We're in the middle of the mountains, okay? 15 miles away is Mount Sneffels, which is 14,150 feet. And there are several other 14ers around. But if you go outside and look and actually measure, no part of the horizon is above 3 degrees from the horizontal. And that's fine. My antenna can get out of that just fine. Okay, in Southern Illinois, audio is delayed, sync fine, and audio matches audio. Okay, good. Let's see. So this one, oh, that's from Tom. Yeah, great guy. In fact, he's the one who introduced me to the concept of a live stream. We're up to 199 concurrent viewers right now, 201. This is from Mark Strawcutter, who is a frequent question contributor, and he's KC3MLA. He says his shack is in the attic, or the third floor of the house. Feed point of an end-fed half-wave antenna will be near where it enters the house, just outside the station, and directly above the station ground rod. Will it hurt to have the coax running down to the ground point lightning suppressor right next to the piece running up? Distance is about 25 feet. Seem to remember you saying in a live stream that this would not be a good idea, which is correct. Getting them separated would be a pain. I would say get them 2 or 3 feet apart if you can. Because remember, when lightning comes down one, it's looking for the easiest path to ground. And since the other cable actually is going down to the same place, it could arc over that, and when it does, it can arc into your radio up there. So I would recommend that you try to separate those a little bit. 3 feet, something like that. If you can get 3 feet, separate them as much as you can. Okay, good evening, Dave. I bought an ATD578 UV Pro and would be interested in learning more about it if you do some videos. If you got that from Bridgecom Systems, they have a bunch of training videos on their website that you can go look at. Now, you have to have bought it from them, but they have a lot. And, of course, there's a lot out on YouTube, too. Trap dipole and attic question. How much of a concern is it if any part of the antenna touches any of the lumber frame? Not much. 200 viewers and 36 thumbs up. Oh, yeah, well, I'll take thumbs up. Don, thank you very much. I really enjoyed your daily videos from the homebound. Many thanks. Okay, Fred Hollendorfer, KE0EF. Hello from Wheat Ridge, which is in the Denver area. David, there are several really good mentors on YouTube. Thanks for being one of them. Heard a question on the Thursday live stream about mag loops. You were talking about a new product from the MFJ Skunkworks that was a possible auto-tuning mag loop. I was wondering if this were to come to pass, could you use a second antenna, say a vertical, to tune the band to find a net or an FT8 frequency and then switch back to the mag loop and let it auto-tune? I suppose you could. On some radios that have more than one input, you can do one as a receive only. You don't really need a tuned antenna to receive. You can just use a long wire for that. FT8's always at the same frequency, 14074, 7074, so on. 5313. Let's see. This is from Kevin A. Evgen. One Crazy Nordlander on YouTube. And let's see if his call, he didn't put his call sign in here. Okay, he's commenting about the little device that goes on the 7300 that will give you an IF output to put into the SDR radio. Saying, as I looked at it and complained, the good grief, it's 25% of the cost of the radio. And he's saying, well, if you buy the MFJ, the 1708 SDR as a switch, I'm going to end up spending close to that by the time I get that and all the connecting cables. Well, let me think about that. If I decide to do that, I will use channel funds and do a review of that. I hesitate to make that part of the reference station, but there's no reason I couldn't. Let me think about it. It's like $250, $270 for that little thing. This is from John Vogt, N7OLL. Been a licensed ham for quite a while, but he's getting active now. Suppose he has 5 friends, one lives a mile away, another 10, another 100, 100,000, 11,000, and he wants to talk with his friends over ham radio on a regular basis. On HF, you're not going to do it on the same frequencies all the time. You just won't be able to. What I would suggest if you've got friends scattered all over everywhere is to pick a talk group on DMR or a room on D-Star that's not used very much, and all use that, and you can chat in a conference. That would work very well. Dwayne, thank you very much. I appreciate it. So that is something that you could try for doing that. Otherwise, if they're 10 miles away, you can use VHF. If they're 100 miles away, maybe VHF, maybe 80-meter ground wave. More than that, you're going to be 40, 20, something like that. So I guess then comes the question, why don't you just use Skype? If you want to do it over radio, DMR will do it. I think WiresX will do it. I don't know much about WiresX. But you can use D-Star to do it, and C4FM. All of the 3 big digital systems all have lots of internet connections around to repeaters around the world. Okay, this is from Roger Bond. Would it be okay to use an SWR watt meter like the DOSI test center from HF to get your readings for VHF, like say 2 meter? Okay, this is actually discussed in the technician manual. A watt meter that's designed for HF will be inaccurate at VHF. This is why the MFJ HF VHF meter has a switch to go back and forth between HF and VHF for the watt part of it. However, because, if you use it on, say, 2 meters and it reads 20% low on the wattage, You look at the reflected power, it's going to get the same 20% low. So if you look at the ratio of the two to get your SWR, the errors wash out, and you can get an accurate SWR using an HF SWR meter. You can get a relatively accurate, again, these are not lab-grade instruments, but a relatively accurate SWR on 2 meters. So yes, SWR, yes, watt meter, no. Thank you very much from Jason, and from Don, and from Bob. Wow, thank you very much. We're up to $100 chat revenue. Okay, and he says don't expect it to be part of the reference station. The reference station is what you start with. Like, for example, my vertical, which is the step IR, big IR vertical, is not part of the reference station, but the very inexpensive MFJ 2010 is part of the reference station, which reminds me I need to put it back up. I've got the 17754 there right now. Wires X will do worldwide also. Thank you for that. Okay, Cob Webb Antenna. I really enjoy your videos, but just have a question about the cobweb on the wires on the end where they are separated from the other side. Should you bend the wire back and wrap it to the wire? Yes. Or leave it hanging loose? No, but. Does it matter if the wire is insulated or not? Yes, it does. If you use insulated wire on that thing, you'll have to shorten the lengths a little bit. Okay, I have the MFJ 1836 with the 3040 add-on. Want to replace the wire, kind of flimsy. That wire is stronger than you might think it is. I hope you can understand my question. Yes. Now, when I did the 40 on that, where they came together, it was still made it too short. So I hung the wires down. And that actually lengthened the antenna. Okay, so I had to do that. All right. Very kind people today. Let's see. Okay, that answers that one. This one is from Lee Derwachter, KE5NHU. Even though it was awfully convenient, a coax switch wasn't necessarily a good idea due to their bleeding over, but I noticed you use one. Yes, and upon closer inspection, it looked like a Delta 4 coax switch. It is. Alpha Delta. Alpha Delta, number 4. Delta 4. Have you had any issues with it? No. Have you ever tested its effectiveness? No. What makes Delta 4 a reliable isolating switch? Well, it grounds the other antennas, so they just go straight to ground. It also has a lightning arrestor right in the switch in case a lightning pulse gets that far, gets as far as the switch. I like it. I think it's pricey, but I think a best practice. It's a very good switch. Now, I'm assuming that you have one radio and multiple antennas, okay? One radio, multiple antennas. Now, if you happen to be operating 2 transmitters, such as in a contesting station, okay, then what would happen there is you'd want to keep either a matrix, which are very expensive, or keep those separate. Each has its own antennas. So if you've got a 40-meter antenna on this radio, but you're using 20, and then you transmit on 40 meters on the other, you would expect some attenuation coming in. So I have not found an issue. Test it out, see how it does on yours. But I don't think you're going to have an issue with that. Let's see. Yeah. Wonderful. Let's see. What color shirt will you wear for editing the new license content? I have been asked that several times, and I do not know. I think it will be one with the OG logo on it. I've had a problem with these shirts. The OG logo has shrunk in the wash, whereas the shirt has not. So I guess I've got to go around holding the thing like that so you can see the hole, because otherwise it kind of folds up around it. I'll probably wear an OG shirt. I don't know, maybe a red one, something. It was orange for the new and blue for the old. That is true. Vote for a bright Hawaiian shirt. Yeah, that's an interesting idea. I was looking at the Delta 4, really like the common ground position. Yes. Very good question. Answers. Okay, well, I'm not done, I don't think. Good. Let's see. Curtis Edwards, Jr., KE6HVK. Now, one of the other problems, even with the coax switch, suppose you've got the one radio connected through the switch to the 20-meter antenna, and you're transmitting on 40 on another antenna. Okay, some of that 40 meters is going to be picked up by the 20-meter antenna and fed right into the front end of the other radio. Okay, for some radios that can be a problem. The newer radios, I don't think you're going to have that much of an issue, but it can be. We have had that trouble at Field Day, where we get one radio getting into the others. So, let's see. Speaking of the OG logo on your mouse pads, well, there's an interesting idea. I'll have to see if Teespring has mouse pads. By the way, hardly anybody ever buys anything from that merchandise thing, but I'll see if I can get a mouse pad. Did your 2x2 come when you got your advanced license? Yes, it is an advanced call sign. Okay, this is from Curtis Edwards, Jr., KE6HVK. Discovered your video a few weeks back. Just found your extra study guides. So now before I get started, with the COVID-19, most testing has been called off. A few VE liaison teams are experimenting with online type things. Will you be coming out with a new YouTube video to cover 2020 to 2024? Yes. Do you know if a new extra manual from the ARRL, a 12th edition, will be coming out soon? Yes, it will be. Now, ARRL's like everybody else. They've had to send people home, so if there's a delay in publication, I don't know. I mean, I would think all that stuff's automated. And the book to be published in May would have to be already put to bed. Thoughts on the best DMR hotspot? There's all kinds of them available out there. If you've got a repeater you can contact on DMR, you don't really need the hotspot. Just ordered the Anytone 878 Plus. That's a very nice radio, by the way. Does the magnetic loop work well? Okay, there's also a question in the pile here about the mag loop. So let me just answer that real quickly. I found in my testing that the mag loop worked just as well as a dipole. Now, the mag loop, if the circle is this way, in the direction through the loop like this, there is a null. You can get around that by putting the mag loop horizontally. A lot of mag loops, you got to be right there to tune them, so they're mostly for portable use and actually disassemble and go into a bag like my Chameleon does. And then my MFJ is definitely not designed for portable use. It has a remote tuner on it. Yeah, it works about as well as a dipole. You enjoy DMR better with a hotspot? Yeah, probably. Delay in pubs from ARRL, waiting for a few, and support said won't ship till the end of May. Oh my goodness. I know Amazon shipping has really gone downhill. I ordered some stuff for an ADSB receiver, the ADSB in, and they put me off for a whole month to ship. So I don't know about this. We've got this problem with our local hospital, Montrose Memorial. Last I heard, they had 2 COVID-19 patients. Well, in the meantime, they stopped doing all unnecessary surgery, and so they're basically running empty. And they're losing loads of money because they're not doing any of these elective surgeries. I've got a friend who has severe back issues right now, severe. They're debilitating. He can't do anything. And they've put off his surgery because of the COVID-19. So you've got this hospital running empty. They're losing money in buckets. And it's because they're not doing any elective surgeries. So out here in the boondocks, we're not getting hit very bad with it. They'll figure it out. Any ideas on how to install lightning protection on an antenna fed directly with twin lead? Yeah, I talked last week. Hello, Brendan. Thank you. Get a couple spark plugs, put them about that far apart on a metal plate, and ground the metal plate. Take the two leads and, the spark plug tops kind of loosen, and you can put the wire under there. And then you've got two spark plugs, one. And if you get a high voltage surge, it'll cause those spark plugs to spark, and that's where the power goes. Does the ARRL have the new question pulse on their website? I'm still trying to study for my tech license. Okay, now the tech license isn't changing. Just the extra is. They change, they go general, extra, tech, or something like that, and then they skip a year, and then they do general, extra, tech. So tech just changed, and I just put up a new set of videos for that. Okay, receive-only loops are amazing. I've got one. Okay, let's see. Big problem with that. Had to rebuild a radio because of 1200 on delta loop into a vertical antenna. Ordered. Okay, we have two here in Wayne County. Yeah, we're doing good so far. Okay. This is from Tom Frericks. I'm probably mispronouncing that. I think Tom is online with us today. He is going to... I'm going to pull this out of here because he's going to get on the phone with me and talk through the... this is the Nano VNA. It's dirt cheap, less than $100. And it can serve as a very nice antenna analyzer, but I don't know how. It presents itself as a vector network analyzer and assumes you're a PhD in that sort of thing. Okay, let's see. They did it right? Okay, good, Tom. Assumed you hadn't heard last week. Okay, let's see. Tom. Okay, this is Timothy Bath, KF4ROI. Return on investment. Timothy Bath, been a ham for a while, always had a mobile and an HT, but never a shack. Had to sell all my gear a bit ago to pay health bills. Sorry to hear that. I'm back on the air with an HT and a hotspot, can no longer drive anymore. Started studying for my general. Hope to get either an IC705 or IC7100 for my future home shack. They are very different radios. The IC705, I think it's 10 watts max, and the 7100 is 100 watts. Go with the 100-watt radio for your first radio. Currently live in an apartment on the 4th floor with a balcony. How do I go about grounding the radio? Okay, well, your power supply has a 3-wire plug, and that bottom one goes to the ground system, the utility ground system. The output of the power supply, the negative lead, is connected to that. Okay, so you've got a form of ground in there. And you can use one of the MFJ balcony antennas, or, there's a variety of things that you can use in there, mag loop, whatever you want. And the only time I'd worry about grounding would be if the RF gets into the radio or into, your other equipment, your stereo, whatever, television. So play it by ear. MFJ does sell an artificial ground, which has a counterpoise, but then again, so does the balcony antenna. So you can move the counterpoise around to where it's got the least problem. I think that should work for you. There are ways to get on the air from apartments. It's hard. We have one confirmed case in Vegreville, Alberta. Yes. I'm stupid as a brick and I can use it. Well, I guess I'm stupid as a stone. I haven't really done much with it. I just need to be walked through it. An example to me is a lot easier than following instructions. IRC spark plugs are designed to jump gap around 30 kilovolts in the fuel air mixture. Check the resistance to the air gap. Yeah, you want to close them up. Have you checked YouTube for videos on the analyzer? Oh, there's a bunch of them. Are you putting up a doublet? Can I ground J-pole antenna for UHF, VHF, or should I when I get set up? Yeah, I would run a wire from the bottom of that J-pole down to ground, just to bleed off the static charge. Like I said, I blew out the front end of a handheld one time because I left it connected to my J-pole overnight and there was a bit of a windstorm and the static built up just went into there was no path to ground, so it went into the front end of the radio and blew it out. IC 7100. 7100, a lot like 7300, having owned both. Of course, the 7100 doesn't have the beautiful spectrum display. DMR hotspot, yes. It's Ham Radio 1. Yes, hamradio1.com will get you to the hotspot maker that makes this one. I call it the San Diego hotspot. It's Next Gen or something like that. W4GLK, thank you very much. You're very kind. Actually, I've been using G5R, but instead of terminating in the coax at 30 feet, it's fed all the way with lateral line. That'll work too. About what I just mentioned about the ground terminal power supply, would that work for an old boat anchor, two-prong? Most people, when they do boat anchors, they replace the power cord. Some boat anchors have one side of the AC on the chassis itself, but look into that because you may want to replace that with a 3-wire cord and ground the actual boat anchor to it. We're going to tune it soon. G5RV terminates SO239. That was so never good when you were... Yeah, well, blowout figuratively. I mean, it wasn't an explosion, but it stopped working. Try Google for ladder line surge protection. Yeah, see if there's a better idea than the one I've got. Okay, this is from John Murphy, N3QT. He had a catastrophic failure of a rig, an older Yaesu, contacted vintage repair business and was told it was too new. Then went to another place and was told it was too old. Been considering the option, the FTDX3000, IC7300, and TSG590. It's a big decision. I like knobs and multiple antenna inputs. Well, the FTDX3000 would do fine for that. Although, you know, the reference station radio is the IC7300. Did I buy the 300 hertz 9 megahertz roofing filter? No, I didn't. I didn't buy any extra roofing filters with any of the radios. This is from N9WIB. Mark wants to expand his HF activities and add a vertical omnidirectional multiband 20 and 40 meters a must with 80 meters on a wish list antenna in addition to my OCF dipole. The antenna will be mast mounted on the side of a garage. Ideal budget for antenna only less than 600. Well, look at the AV640. I think it's about in that price range. 100 watt max output. Yeah, you're fine with that. Using a manual antenna tuner with the 7300. That antenna should allow you to take the manual antenna tuner out of the loop the IC7300 should tune it just fine. There are lots of antennas, and he names antennas I'm not familiar with. The Gap, the Comet, the Diamond. Should I use 80 feet RG8X or RG8U? RG8X is fine for an HF run of that length. I mean, it's not worth the extra money for the extra fraction of a dB. LMR would work. It is stiff, but you can do a 4-inch bend radius, about like that, with the LMR. All right, we're about halfway through the questions and almost all the way through our time. This is from John Evans, K5ILC. Will putting a Yagi or dipole at a 45-degree slant reduce signal fading in the 10-meter band? No. If the antenna is level and it's near ground, by near ground I mean like within 400 feet of ground, okay, the takeoff angle is going to be up anyway on 10 meters. So that's not going to help there. Then when you get up in the VHF, it gets a little different. Start doing satellite, you want to point as well as L. Are you a virgin? Good grief, I have 2 children. Just looking, they show how to build the spark plug arrestor. Good. Wireman sells the spark plug arrestor for $30. Well, there you go. I'll have to take a look at that. One more. Owen Samuelson, KU4ET. And it's just an observation that he enjoys the videos. Good. Well, thank you. Okay, so I'm going to take these off, and these are now the ones that we will use on Thursday. Okay, and these right here I will give to my assistant, whom I am losing. She is going to graduate early from high school and go off out of state to an internship. She is really sharp. Very sorry to lose her. Okay, so let's see. Don't forget Tom, W5KUB. Don't forget W5KUB.com. And I'll be back on a live stream on Thursday at 7 p.m. Mountain Time, which is actually Friday at 0100 UTC. And of course, we'll be back Saturday. I will try to have a video every day this week. I may miss one, but we'll try it. The next one, I'm going to show how to make a sleeve dipole out of a piece of LMR 400. So thank you all so much. Wow, 221 concurrent visitors, 76 likes, chat revenue $112. Of course, YouTube will take its share out of there. Thank you so very much. I love you guys. I really love this time when I have a chance to get on the YouTube with you, and I'll try and get on the air. Maybe I'll try and get on the air this afternoon. I've got to do my studying for my pilot here. I'm doing 3 days a week, and so that's pretty fast. So I'm having to do a lot of study. I'm going to have to slow down and do some review sessions. Thank you all very much. It's been a great live stream, and I hope that all of you are safe and stay well. And if you have to go out to work or whatever, don't forget that face mask. Don't throw caution to the winds, because the winds may bring COVID-19 to you. So be good. Be good. I know we all value our freedoms, but best practice is wear that mask outside. States are starting to reopen. Good luck, and God bless all of you. Until we next meet, 73.